that I may not be done. There we go, connection available. All right, welcome to, for those on Facebook Live, you now join us at North Dallas Addison Business Growth Networkers for our Tuesday learning opportunity, training opportunity, and we have the pleasure, which we've had before, but we're excited again to hear Scott Schilling talk about communicating with confidence. This is actually a talk that he has not done before, right? This is a brand new topic, but I can tell you, as I said, Scott is always a joy. He's a servant leader. He's somebody who really puts all of himself into everything he does. He's somebody that I know I personally can count on. He's spoken on stage to thousands of people. He's written God knows how many books. I don't even know off the top of my head, but I know they're all worth buying. So go and look up Scott Schilling, look at his stuff, and strap in. Let's hear what Scott has to teach on communicating with confidence. Scott Schilling.
Welcome, everyone.
Yay!
A little soft. This isn't I've done this topic more than once, but just haven't done it here in the past. And one of the things that as Jen and I were talking, and one of the things that as we're doing our Double Funnel TV live each morning, is there's a lot of training and a lot of tidbits and a lot of things that happen just naturally. Even when we're working on funnels or we're working on copy or we're working on whatever, because everything is communication. Everything. From the time that you walked in here today to, how you greeted people, how you didn't greet people, how what you chose to wear, what you chose not to wear. Everything is communicating a message immediately as we go along. And so this topic, amongst many, there's a variety of different things. If you're presenting and you're selling, there's a variety of different things that are tremendously important. Communicating with confidence is one of those greatest ones, because how many times do you get a chance to make a first impression? One. So if you don't have that ability to communicate, I'm actually working with a client right now. The guy is brilliant, but he kind of pauses. And then he goes again, and so you start to question what's really going on. But he's brilliant, but he's not communicating with strength or with confidence, with whatever. And is it fair to say people can tell that?
Yeah.
People can tell if you're communicating with confidence or you're backpedaling a little bit. That's why I always suggested a big part of this is you have to be a product of your product. If you're not a product of your product, you can't be convicted in your product. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. So there's never a time. I've been blessed to 2,500 plus live events, sold millions of dollars from the stage to people I've never met before, all those different kinds of things. But you can't do all that unless you have confidence in what you're presenting. So you've got to be a product of your product. You've got to be a believer. You can't do things just because you choose to. There's a lot of different companies out there. If you're going to represent one in the space you're in, represent the one that's the greatest, highest quality based on your criteria, and then go that way. That's making some sense right out of the block.
Yep.
From that side. So communications is so important that truly the quality of your communication dictates the quality of your life. There's a lot of different things that you can do on a communication side. You can try to be trendy. You can try to speak somebody else's speak. You can speak urban. You can speak not urban. You can do all sorts of different things. Now, it doesn't work real well for a 60-year-old guy like me to speak the way certain other people speak. It doesn't make any sense, right? But guess what? It might not make sense for them to speak that way either, if they're trying to accomplish certain things, right? It's where does the professionalism, there's kind of a judgment factor that goes into how we communicate our messages, how we look, how we do whatever. from that side. So again, the quality of your communications truly dictates the quality of your life as you go along. And communication skills make the difference. Sales and marketing are not dirty words. They are core skill sets. And communications is how you relate that to everything. If you don't understand that we're all selling every minute of every day, you're making a mistake.
That's right.
It's just a pure mistake. The way you dressed here today sold who you were as you walked into the room. My encouragement to you would be always dress one level above your prospect. Why? Choice. You want to. I choose to. I want to be one level above my prospect at all times. Sales, by definition, is the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. Now, that's the Webster's definition of sales. And I train a lot in the holistic disciplines. I train a lot in some really wonderful heart-centered people. And they get hung up on this thing, the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money part. Well, if you don't collect money for what you do, they call you broke.
That's right.
And if you're broke, you don't have a business. So you've got to figure out how to reframe this in such a way that you receive the value that you're due in things. So again, the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money, the equivalent could be, it makes my heart feel great. That's awesome, as long as that provides you enough motivation to truly collect the money that is due for the value that is exchanged. If you want to exchange, or if you want to make more money, you have to exchange more value. You have to do it consistently, you have to do it repeatedly, and go down the line. What I did is I created my own heart-centered selling definition, and that is education through communication without manipulation. This is how communicating with confidence ties into all this. If we understand, if we're going to take a heart-centered selling definition of sales, education through communication without manipulation, we have to understand the communication process. Our ability to educate somebody else on a particular situation is going to be so much better if we first understand the communication process. We understand what could be seen as manipulative and what wouldn't be seen as manipulative. Because if our desire is to do it without manipulation, don't you think we should know what that is? Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that we understand where we're going with our communication. So this is easily the most misquoted study on communications in the history of the planet. Dr. Albert Maharaban at UCLA back in 1977 created this communication model on interpersonal nonverbal communication. It's the most quoted and misquoted study in history, so to be consistent, I will also misquote it. Good, 3 of you are listening. That's perfect. The reason I say that is because it truly was done about nonverbal communication, but I truly believe with significant others, with spouses. And what I truly believe is the sales and the communication process is as intimate as that type of relationship. It needs to be. If you don't have a relationship with your prospect that is in that level of intimacy, you have not earned your way to the fullness of that relationship yet. That's what you should be striving for. Now, can we argue that these numbers have changed a little bit? Of course we can. Can we argue some of the things? Sure we can. But conceptually, I think it still falls tremendously in line. And unfortunately, there haven't been a lot of other studies done. And I think it's because this one actually kind of covered it, kind of shorted it. But what it said is 7% of our communication is the words. 38% of our communication is the tonality behind the delivery of the words. And 55% of our communications is the physiology behind the tonality and the delivery of the words. 7, 38, 55. So again, when I said how you're dressing speaks ahead of you entering the room. That's physiology. It's what you're actually dressed in. Now, to give you a little example, I'm going to say the exact same word 3 times. Let's just see if there's a difference in communication. Hi. 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 Was there a difference in the level of communication that happened with it?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we put this all together, we start to understand the value of knowing this. And again, not to argue the numbers exactly, but if you start to think about it, it's really amazing. It's not hard if you understand what I'm going to share with you here today. It's actually very easy to understand why we're in the mess we're in business today.
Right.
Because it all comes down to this. So, 7% of the 7% of the communication of the words. Word choice is critical. Recently, I was at a Starbucks. I walk in. As I'm getting to the door, there's a lovely young lady walking up to the door at about the same time. I stop. I open the door. I allow her to pass through first. She says,
Thank you. Or nothing.
exactly. Yes, thank you or nothing. Correct. Good 2 choices. And I said,
You're welcome.
absolutely not. That is not what I said. I said, it's my honor. It's a privilege. Why do you do that? Word choice is critical. The vast majority of people will say, you're welcome. And in every audience, I'll have somebody typically say, no problem. You open the door. You did something nice. Somebody walks in. They are being appreciative towards you, and you say, no problem. There was no problem until you said, no problem. Because now you've raised the potential for a problem. I didn't think it would have been a problem for you to open the door. That would have just been manners. It would have just been nice. But because I now say no problem, I now create in their mind doubt that I actually did something nice. Who caused that?
You.
I did. So again, my encouragement to you would be to up-level your communication. The quality of your communication is the quality of your life. So when you now open the door, and please, after you, thank you. It's an honor. What typically happens, and they stop and they go, that was really nice. Are you kidding? It's an honor to open the door for me? Thank you so much. Oh, you understand what just happened? What's the next thing that happened? Because you have now taken them off guard, their defenses have dropped. Because their defenses have dropped, you have now started building rapport. Because you're now starting to build rapport, what can that lead to? Relationship, which ultimately can lead to
Business.
anything you want it to. So again, word choice is critical. Are you really careful with what you say? A lot of times when Jenna and I are doing double funnel TV, you'll hear me, Jenna will say something, and I'll fire a word right back at her. And I'm working to reframe it because we tend to get lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like those words. Well, I have to pick up my kids from school today. I have to make my wife dinner. I have to stop at the bank. I have to call Forrest. I get to call Forrest. He's my friend. I get to go pick up my kids. I get to live life fully. See, we have it in our own words, and we don't even sometimes recognize what we're doing. As we're speaking down, word choice is critical as we do this. Now, if you don't think word choice is critical, this is one that always gets a lot of reaction when I give it at colleges. But if you don't think word choice is critical, I'm going to give you a test. sex education versus sex training. Word choice is critical, right? So the question is, are we using victim language or victor language? You know, victim language. I can't do that. I won't do that. I won't go there. That's not possible. That's all victim language. I can do this. I can do all things. I can do anything that I set my mind to. Do you understand the difference in who's listening to you every day?
You are.
You are. Sean does an amazing job of helping folks with this. We're talking somewhere 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts a day. The vast majority of those thoughts and the vast majority of those things we're saying are not in our favor.
Right.
We're beating ourselves up. The world will take care of that. You don't have to. That's not a job you need to put on your card. The fact is, the rest of the world will share those things with you. See, it's interesting because I can't tell you how many times when I'm working with a client or working with somebody, and I'll say something very simple for me to say. It's just the way that I've conditioned myself to say it. You know, what this is all about is the good and the not so good. And they go, you mean the bad? No, I mean the not so good. I choose not to call it bad. I choose to call it not so good, or not as good. Why do I do that? You know, there's a whole bunch of studies. There's more books. There's more stuff written on self-talk and a variety of different things. But you're hearing everything every time you say it consistently. And so as you say this stuff, if I say, I'm going to talk about the good and the not so good. It still frames it in a positive light. Now, Scott, positive thinking doesn't solve everything. You're right. But it's a whole heck of a lot better than negative thinking. You know, it's going to serve you better in your communication if you're doing it like that. The other thing is, in selling, we talk consistently about USPs, unique selling propositions. What are your unique selling propositions? You're the only U.S. health rep in Dallas, aren't you? You're serious? There's more than one? Really?
Thousands.
What's your USP? What are our unique selling propositions? Language can be a big part of that. Because people, unfortunately, get sloppy, they get lazy, they choose not to focus on the words they use. And so again, sometimes it's the simple things that you say that change the perception as far as that goes. Victim language is about blame, shame, and justify. Blame means you did it. Patrick, it's on you. You did this here. Shame is on, I did. I don't know what I was thinking. And justify is, well, let me share with you what happened to cause this to. So as we blame, shame, and justify, we fall into victim language almost automatically. And so one of my mentors, Jack Canfield, I spent a significant amount of time with Jack over the years. But the number one success principle in his book, The Success Principles, is take 100% responsibility for everything in life. Well, that doesn't seem fair. It ain't about fair. If you think life is fair, you've been missing that for a long time. It's not about fair. It's about how to be more efficient doing what you're doing. So if I take responsibility for things, I can't blame anybody else because it's me. Shame, I just have to learn more to get better. Justification, there are reasons things happen, but it doesn't matter. I need to continue to move forward. Does that make some sense?
Yep. Yes.
So again, word choice is critical. Use simple language. How many of you have been trained up and have a degree on the wall? And you've got this sheepskin that says, you now am an expert at whatever that degree is. And did they give you some fancy words to go along with that?
Sure.
And do you tend to use those fancy words?
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's the point. If you use those fancy words, understand that those that you are speaking to are probably not understanding those fancy words.
That's right.
Stop using the nomenclatures, fancy word for model number, that your company put on its product, or policy number, or whatever the case might be. Right? People use acronyms all the time that nobody knows what the dang acronym is about. And so they go, do you want to buy? Why not? Well, it's just not right for me. It has nothing to do with being right for them. They had no clue what you said. You talked right over the top of their head. So, as an example, use simple language. I said I share a lot in the chiropractic industry. All of a sudden, one of the chiropractors said one day, "You've got a subluxation. You could die." Holy crap, I could die of something I don't know what it is. You did not ingratiate yourself to me. What is a subluxation? Very simply, two nerves, or two bones, two vertebrae, pinching a nerve. So why didn't you say, you've got two vertebrae pinching a nerve that could cause so much effect that at some point you could die? Well, I don't like that any better, but at least I appreciate you explaining it to me. You understand?
Yep.
We're not using simple language. So as an example, in chiropractic, the weight of a human head is 7 to 9 pounds. And so what I ask doctors to do is get a female shot put. Why? Weighs 8 pounds. The average of 7 to 9 is 8. Now, take that shot put and hold it like this. More importantly, take that shot put it in your patient's hand. Feel how supported that is? Yeah, well, that's the representation of when you have the proper curve in your cervical spine. It's easy to hold your head up and forward. Now go ahead and take that shot put and just do that. Even without the 8 pounds, if you do that, you can feel the tugging on the ligaments in your wrist. You now made words convert to images and thought and feel, so your message comes through. Use simple language. Help people understand it in such a way. So one of the things that I suggest is go back to your 30 days worth of emails. And I want you to circle how many times you have I, me, my, and mine in those emails. And then I want you to recraft those emails by replace I, me, my, or mine with you and yours. It totally changes the conversation. It totally changes the direction of the conversation. So as an example, today I will teach you. Today you will learn. Which did you prefer? You will learn. Your prospect always wants it to be about them. If I'm speaking I, me, my, and mine, it's possessive to me and not my prospect. Who do they want it to be about? Them. So we have to change our conversation. Today you'll learn a number of things that you can take to the street so that your success is even better than you even imagined. 4 times I used and just went with a process of taking this information. That makes some sense?
Yep.
I would encourage you to do this. People go, oh, yeah, Scott, that tip's for somebody else. That's not for me. You're right. I encourage you to go take a look. Word choice is critical. I'm a financial advisor for... The horns come out. Oh my God, protect your wallet. You're going to try to sell me something. You're a sales guy, sales girl. Or, I help people like you and families like yours enjoy a full and happy life. So when you're in a networking, stop introducing yourself with the title on your business card. Nobody needs or wants whatever you have. Let that sink in for a second. Scott, you're being mean now. No, I'm being realistic now. Nobody needs or wants an international speaker. I'll drop it back on myself. What they want is the results the international speaker shares in such a way that it then serves them to have a greater life. Well, this is automatically where you can start to have fun with this. People say, Scott, what is it that you do? Well, quite frankly, I help people like yours and families like yours have a longer, happier, healthier life. Wow, that's interesting. How do you do that? Very well, thank you. No, really, how do you do it? No, I'm really good at it. No, how do you do that? Well, I do it by training people on communications a lot of times. Do you understand? I owe them an answer. I don't owe them an answer when they want the answer. So you can play with people. What do? I help people help people. How do you do that? Very well, thank you. No, seriously, how do you do that? No, I'm really good at it. Do you understand what we're doing? We're building rapport. If our goal in communication is to build a relationship and to build rapport, all these little pieces of it are part of the dance. Well, Scott, but I don't want to dance. Okay, then just don't grow your business. Because that's what it takes. It takes dancing. It takes getting to know people. It takes having connections. Does that make some sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. We're 3 of you again. Perfect.
Yep.
We're making 38% is the tonality. A smile can be heard. If you don't believe that, you're not thinking straight. It can be. When I do coaching a lot of times, I've got my headset on, I'm standing up. What that does, the physiology changes, my diaphragm opens up, I've got full air available, my hands are flailing away, my wife will come past the office and she'll go, what the hell is he doing? Oh, he's coaching again, right? Because I'm on the phone standing up. Sean does this as well. I mean, Sean does the vast majority of his lives and the things he's doing standing. Why? Because you're using everything, all the physiology, everything that you're doing. But, you know, if you're happy, tell your face. You know, this is supposed to be fun. Everything that you're doing in business is supposed to be fun. If it's not, you're in the wrong business. Now, did I say that there's never something nasty that happens or isn't as nice? I didn't say that. What I'm saying is you need to learn how to enjoy doing what you're doing. I love doing this. This is fun, helping people learn how they can help more people. That's fun. Have fun doing it. Be goofy. Do weird stuff. If I want to generate an enthusiastic tone, all I have to do is go higher and faster. And if I want to convey compassion, I just go lower and slower. That's what really bugged me about that first chiropractor. You've got a subluxation. You could die. Why are you so happy about this? Right? His words and his tone did not match each other. Make sense?
Yep.
So if you're conveying compassion with somebody, go lower and slower. And I'm really sorry to hear about what happened last week. That's a shame. But you know what? I know as strong as you are, you're going to come right back from that. What did I just do? I gave the messaging of Compassion Hearing came back with a message of support by increasing my pace and tonality. You've got to be able to make your words dance from that side. Make sense?
Yep, yep.
Perfect. 55% is physiology. Now gesturing, a handshake. We got time. Forrest, come up here. You know how to shake hands? No, he doesn't. He thinks he does. Come on.
That's something.
Yay, Forrest!
Watch what Forrest does. Shake my hand.
Oh, Scott?
Everybody see what he did?
Yeah.
Did he do it properly?
Sure.
How many by a vote think he did it properly? How many aren't going to raise your hand because you're just scared to find out the answer? Okay, do it again.
Oh, Scott?
Did you do it right again?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Shake my hand.
Scott, how are you?
How do you do?
I didn't get the shake.
So what verbal clues? 55% is physiology. What verbal clues did Forrest give off?
He said hi. He acknowledged your face.
Where was his right foot compared to his left foot?
He stepped.
Did he? Or was he sitting like this? Hi, oh God, he left an exit with his legs. He came out and he stepped in, but left an exit. He had his foot turned out. That's so, oh my God, I can leave. That's verbal, non-verbal communication at its finest. So, here's what I suggest. Arm down, slightly forward, up, 45. Why at a 45? Scott, I'll show weakness. No, you'll show subordination. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. If I don't know you, I don't like you. If I don't like you, I don't trust you. How do I get to know, like, and trust you? One of us has got to subordinate. It's you. You're the one on the mission. You're controlling it. So I now come step in. I bring this foot up to square up. I look into his left eye, which is the right side of the brain. I said, hi, my name is. I shift over to the other eye, Scott, and yours is?
My name is Forrest.
So what I do is I make a emotional connection, logical connection. So I actually shift my eyes where I'm looking, what I say. When I come in, I square myself up. This now gives us our personal space. If this is too close, he can choose to walk back. I'm solid. I'm here. Hi, I'm Scott. And you are?
Forrest. Pleasure to meet you.
See? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cross your arms. Anybody ever meet anybody like this?
Never.
Yes.
Never? It's never happened?
Never happened.
Well, you always wear those shirts, that's why. So, exact same thing. Hi, my name is Scott, and yours is?
I'm Forrest.
What did I do?
You opened up his arms.
You matched him.
So I came in the exact same way. I'm watching him if he's responding or not responding. He chooses, keep your arms crossed, he chooses not to respond, so I simply bring the second hand up and I point to his heart. Hi, my name is Scott, and yours is?
I'm Forrest.
Look what happened to his arms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to get him to do that. He will do that. Physiologically, he'll drop. Now, thank you, Forrest. Much appreciated.
Good job, Forrest.
So you sit here and say, Scott, is communication truly like this? It is. Because I've come in a position of strength. I'm square, I'm here, I'm representing where I want to be. I've got the perfect distance in here. If he doesn't respond, I can now do the next piece. Making sense again?
Yes.
It's very important to be able to come in. Now you sit there and say, Scott, how important is this? How many times do you get a first impression? Once. So when we were training our teams, we actually would rehearse people coming up in front of the room, they would have to shake hands properly and go into 7 steps of building rapport in a minute and a half or less, and do that in front of everybody until they had it grooved. Now, I used to have a sales manager. He used to come in when we moved down here to Texas. He'd go, "Hey!" What the hell is that? Hey! You gonna attack me? What are you doing? You want my wallet? What's going on here? Right? But he thought that was the way to do it. Do you understand if you do that to the wrong person? You know, Sean has spent a lot of time in Asia and a variety of different places. Your card is, right? It's all respect. Well, doing this is the exact same kind of thing. It's respectful. It's powerful, respectful as you step in. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Physical demonstration, I told you about the ball. If you have the opportunity to add physical, add physical. And you are the greatest representation of your product.
That's right.
If, you know, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, people are going to look at you. How do I know this to be true? Because I was out on the road. That was one of the first talks I did professionally, and my friend said, "Great talk, absolutely amazing. Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Do you have a suit that fits?"
Huh.
Only a friend can do that to you, or ex-friend. But anyway, I don't know. But he was making a statement. That's not a wall, that's me between Bob Proctor and Michael Beckwith from The Secret. But I had gained so much weight and done whatever that the fact is, as soon as I lost 77 pounds of fat, gained 12 pounds of muscle, I had a 65-pound change. The exact same talk I had given 1,000 times, I gave another 1,000 times, and my sales increased.
Absolutely.
Exact same words. Because I was now far more congruent with my messaging. You're looking at a guy who's gained and lost 2,000 pounds in his life. I'm not being judgmental. What I'm suggesting to you is if you want to do better, look better, work at it, do the things that you have to do from that side. So if we sum it up, success is predetermined by our faith, confidence, belief in our products, goods, and services. It's predetermined. You can be successful when you have the confidence, when you have the faith, when you have the understanding in your products, goods, and services. You have to stand strong. Do you think I would like 100% of my audiences to love everything I have ever said? Of course I would. How many times do you think it has happened? Exactly never. So you have to be okay with all of that. You have to be okay with being strong and presenting the right things the best way you can, and the people who are supposed to accept it are going to accept it.
That's right.
Pretty simple. Want to just inform everybody of the event we've got coming up right here. Sean and I and the great Mike Muni. Mike was the co-inventor of ACT software. They started the CRM category, he and his partner Pat. Very smart guy. And we're going to do an event here Saturday, June 15th. 11 Deadly Fears, addiction to approval, grooming yourself, your mindset, why customers buy, don't buy. Mike's going to do a piece on relationships, things like that. So that's all going to be there live that day. But other bonuses, part of a special Facebook group, extended trainings, recordings of it all that. Go to uplusOnepresents.com to check it out. I encourage you. We both do a live and a live stream. And so if you have some folks that are away from here that, would benefit, get them on the live stream. Because they become pretty darn good events. They're pretty fun from that side. And if there's ever anything that I can do to serve you, understand that I'm here for you. The biggest issue that we have in our world right now is these things. Because the 7% is what everybody's focusing on.
That's right.
I'm 60 years old.
Wow.
I'm 61 years old.
God bless you.
When I say my
Young guy.
my daughter texts somebody, she's 31 years old, she says she's with her BFF, what? Best friends forever, right? I'm 61 years old, I text BFF, best friend fell. So we don't even use the same acronyms. This will be the death of us. God bless.
Thanks, Scott. I think you need to give him more of a hand. Come on, let's go. That was awesome. Right?
That's great.
I also encourage you, one of the questions I'm going to ask, what does that cost? Because a lot of times people on the Facebook Live, for the thing on the 15th.
For the thing on
because
the
I can tell you whatever it is, and I kind of know already what it is, but whatever it is, it's your return on your investment of the time and the money for that will pay you back over and over and over again. Because I know the guy, I know Muni. Muni, by the way, if you've ever come to Rich Plano Networkers,
He knows Muni. He likes him.
I know Muni.
We're both here.
What you know, Scott and Sean, you already know. I'm saying, in addition to them, Mike Muni has come to my Richardson Plano Networker Friday, and he's done a talk, which Scott has done a few times, and it will be worth it. So you've got like multiple returns. So what's
It's a U+1 event.
right?
What that means is either your live registration or your live stream is for U+1, 2 people. Live is 198. Live stream is 39.
So
And that's for 2 people.
to steal.
It's beyond a steal.
Right.
But one of the things we want to do, Sean's got a huge team in Costa Rica and South America, and we're sending as much good juju around the world as we possibly can. Now, it's fun to have this place full, so let's
Right.
fill this up and we'll go from
It's
there.
good to have a good studio audience, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say I do Facebook Live all the time, and the speakers love to do it because you're going to get like 500 views or 1,000 views or whatever. But it gets your energy up when you've got people that are amening what you're saying and interacting. If you're a speaker, which Scott is an amazing speaker.
U+1presents.com.
So definitely go there. Facebook Live, anybody in the room, if you can. Even if you you record.
And you get the recording.
You get a
too.
recording, so
Yeah.
if you do the live stream and something comes up and the kid's got something on Saturday and you can't do it, can you go back and get it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course. Okay, so again, it's well worth the thing. So anyway, I just want to make sure
Thank
you
you.
invested your time. By the way, as I always say about Scott when I introduce him, he is a servant leader. He's like, there's a number of us, I think, in the room that are like this. But we serve first, and then we let, obviously we want to be broke, so we let God worry about the sustainability, right? And that means that we're not greedy, but we invest first, and then you get paid. Same thing I teach with networking, right? So again, let's give Scott another. All right, so that was part of my gratitude, but we're not going to go around the room, but anybody, just raise your hand, and I'll just call on you if there's anything that you'd like to be thankful for at this point in the room or just whatever.
Well, I'm thankful for Scott because I love to watch him and I love to talk to Sean while we watch Scott and Jenna. But I'm thankful for Sean as well, and I'm thankful for W for being here.
Right.
Glad he's here. And I'm just thankful for everybody. I just love to come here on Tuesdays. Be
Great.
so
Anybody else?
I'm thankful for Scott because I've heard him do parts of this before, but you were just in your zone today. So
He was in his zone, wasn't he? Yeah, I've heard him a few times too. Awesome job, Yes.
Thank Brian for inviting me and for being on my podcast. Now, the podcast called Coffee and Big After 40. So.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm excited about seeing things.
And I'm thankful for this group because I got to see Forrest today.
Good to
Yeah.
see you.
Anybody else? Any other? Virginia?
Yeah, I'm very thankful for this group. It's so nice to be back.
Yeah, we're glad I'm thankful that you're back. Yes. Thank you.
So glad
Anybody
you're
else? Any
here.
other thing? Eric, you want to introduce yourself since you snuck in before Scott? Just because he didn't get a chance to do that.
I think I know most of you guys. I'm Eric. I'm with Personal Economics Group, helping people put their future in more focus. And I'm just happy to be here. Jen invited me a few months back, and I really enjoyed coming to this group.
Yep. And we enjoy having you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, of course.
Really thankful for Scott because every time I engage with Scott, he's got something of relevance. He's always consistent about his contribution.
Right.
So thank you very much for that.
Awesome. All right.
I stepped out early.
Yeah.
Yes,
sorry.
yes,
but,
Michael. Sorry. Oh, yeah, you didn't get a chance to introduce.
yeah,
Sorry.
I'm Michael. I'm gonna steal what Scott used. I help families, prepare for a better financial future. So I thank you for Scott. I think when I was starting out, this was the biggest deal for me was a lot of the points you brought up, and I think I could still get better at most of them. So thank you again for that. And thank you guys for having me again. It's my second time, so I really enjoy it. So thank you guys so much.
That's awesome. All right, and I just want to thank everybody for your investment in a portion of your life that you cannot get back, which is basically this time to network. Those online as well as those here, you've invested something in me and us and Scott, whatever, that we can't repay. So hopefully you got your value out of it, and hopefully it will return value to you going forward. But we appreciate that. Coming up next week, next Tuesday, mark your calendar, put it on. We'll be meeting again here, and so encourage you to come back, same time, same place. For those who are not part of the Richardson Plano Networkers or whatever, we have our normal Wednesday meeting, which encourage you, if you like the networking thing, that's a pure networking thing. We also have a similar format on Friday, and this Friday I'm going to be speaking, and I would love to have you in the studio audience, if you will. And my talk is like Scott, it's one that I haven't actually done before. I was telling somebody it's in that book right there that I've been working on. It's part of my book that I'm working on, and it's going to be called Creating Your Destiny. And I'm going to focus on some things that, number one, questions you should answer, and number two, 5 things that you can do to put yourself aligned with where you're going. And so if you have the time, it'll also be Facebook Live, but also be there. So at Richardson Plano Networkers, I'd love to have you over there. It's at the original Pancake House over in Plano. So any other announcements, anything that anybody else has, any events or whatever? Okay, well, awesome. Then we'll network at will. Thank you, Facebook Live audience. I think I forgot to turn it off. Sorry, Jenna. Talk to you guys later. She's going to say, that was too long. And I'm going to say, okay, well, sorry.